on these boats run at the sea stage, throwing them around. Second place, Unicredit Pro.
Athena pathway.
Yeah, they've got to be careful here.
It was easy to think that the difference between Group A and B in the Unicredit Youth America's Cup would be obvious when the two groups got to race against each other in the semi-final. The reality proved quite different. Let's get straight to what happened. The first race started as you might expect, with the Italians leading off the line. But a port and starboard penalty on them when they tried to cross the starboard tack Swedish team turned into a double penalty when the Italians were slow to take their medicine. While this was going on, the Spanish had taken the lead. But by the finish, the Swedes had got back into the lead, with Italy just behind and the British in third. With America fifth and Australia last, this was the first hint that the racing would be anything other than A and B division stuff.
Yeah, it's good condition and flat water, and I mean in these type of boats it's all about speed, so we tried to keep it quite easy and sail the boat fast, and yeah, turned out quite well the first one now, and just gonna push to do the same thing the couple of ones here.
The port tack start by the Italians was a punchy one. They were the only ones to try it. But as they blasted out to the right, it was obvious that they'd made the right call. 3 boats were OCS, and as they were taking their penalties, the Italians were already out on the favoured side of the course. From there, it was all about a match race between Lunarossa Prada Pirelli and the Americans. The pair never more than 3 seconds apart at any point on the 2-lap race. American Magic had squeezed into the lead at the first gate, and stayed there until the end. Artemis, the previous race winners, came in 5th.
I think our execution was good in race 1. We just didn't have the correct train of thought for the game plan, so we switched our game plan a little bit and executed well in that race, and yeah, gotta keep chipping.
So, as the batteries got swapped over halfway through the semi-finals, it was Lunarossa and American Magic that were the top 2 teams. But the Swedish Artemis Challenge and Athena Pathway were just behind on equal points. This was a tight start that saw the Australians come away with a stack of 3 penalties after their foul against the Italians, who threaded their way out of the situation to take the lead. By the top gate they were still ahead, but once again the margins were small. Behind them was a tight battle between Athena Pathway and American Magic. Now, before I spoil it for you, I'll pause, because this was a race to watch. For those of you back in the room, as the Americans kept the pressure on, the British kept their nerve to take second by just a few seconds. First had gone to the Italians.
Finally we got the win. I'm super happy. It's gonna be a last tricky race, because everybody I think are gonna push 120% themselves, and we need to be ready for that.
In the overall stakes, this put Lunarossa well out in front, but the battle behind them was set to be a match race between American Magic and Athena Pathway, who were both on 17 points. Nervy was the best way to describe this start. Lunarossa got a penalty, Athena Pathway got buried, and Artemis Challenge got clear air and sprinted out to the left. On the right, the Australians had another plan. A bad tack by the Swedes dropped them back into the pack. The British and Americans charged through. Then a poor tack by American Magic let the British through, but a dodgy jibe by Athena Pathway closed the distance up. Up the second beat, the British got caught up in dirty air from the Spanish and lost their lead on American Magic. From there, the Americans sailed a flawless lap to beat the British and make it through to the final against Lunarossa. Meanwhile, the Australians took the win in this race. And while this didn't change their overall position, it was a fitting finish to a day's racing that had proved that the battle between Cup and invited teams was closer than anyone dared to expect.
Don't think we expected it to be as tight as it was, you know. 6 boats coming into the boundary together. It was tighter than the racing we saw at Jeddah. I think it's been awesome, you know, for the class, for the whole event. It's been amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, this style of racing is very new to all of us. And in the first few days, when it was that tricky sea state, which we hadn't seen before, that was a whole nother factor. And we didn't quite get settled into that as quickly as we wanted to. We had some trouble with our manoeuvres and stuff, and then we went away, worked on it hard, managed to go sailing again in our other boat down the coast and get better at that. And we spent time, you know, when we were hanging on shore and not going racing because there wasn't any wind, we'd just go back to the simulator and keep plucking away and just keep trying new things and keep working hard. And so I think, you know, since the regatta began, we've put a lot of hours in around the time on the water to try and keep improving, and hopefully that showed.
The Youth America's Cup final will take place between the opening 2 matches of the Louis Vuitton final on Thursday. It'll be one to watch, especially as the current forecast looks quite punchy. See you then, if not before.